Well, hello, my friends. Another day, another night. Anyway, so I got something today that's a little different. Are going to look at some cutters, some shears, or pruners, whatever you want to call them. I think pruners are more appropriate. So these are important in the pruning process. So these are Felcos. They're made in Switzerland, Swiss made, and these are Felco 13s. So all the Felcos are marked by numbers. They are all numbered to their specific configuration, to fit each hand. So everybody's got a different hand, and each Felco pruner fits different, or shear, into each hand. So this one has extra long levers, so if there's a big branch, you can move your hand back and have that extra leverage there, or use a second hand to help out. And they all come apart. It's the beauty about Felcos. They come apart, and these blades are interchangeable. They unscrew here and here, and then the center screw. There's a retainer. This actually holds that right there from unscrewing, so you can adjust by turning this and loosening this, how tight the blades are together, so there's no gap between. So that's important, to have no gap. There shouldn't be any gaps between those two cutting blades, because if there's a gap between, you're just gonna bend the branch you're cutting. Piece of wood is gonna mingle in there. I've had these for about 2 years. There's a little rubber stopper right there, a little cushion here and here, so when you squish it, it's a soft hit like this. It's actually quite different than having none there. When you cut it, it kind of snaps, and if there's nothing to absorb that shock, it actually kind of hurts your wrist. And this is a spring, so the spring needs to be lubricated once in a while, and so do all these moving parts. So that's what we're going to be doing. And then there's another brand. There's actually many brands of these cutters. This one's made by Corona, particularly BP 3160. These are sold at Home Depot and many other places. Very common. Find them everywhere. They don't have that rubber cushiony stop, so you can actually hit the side. So when you actually cut it, it kind of snaps, and it's kind of a hard hit. Sometimes you actually get your or pinch your skin between that. Like, I don't know, somehow the finger goes in there, and sometimes you catch it in there and it hurts. And then you do that a lot, and then at the end of the day, it really hurts. So this one has a different kind of a spring. Sometimes it falls out, and this little retainer holds it right there. They're good. They're not expensive. I think around $20. This one's around $60. But had this for at least 2 years and a lot of cutting. So we'll go and start taking apart some of this stuff. So this is how we take it apart. Screwdriver. Sure. This one doesn't quite fit in there. Actually, to push it in. There it goes. this, and this. This one's gonna come out, so we're gonna try to take it off with this monkey wrench. So that comes off. We don't really need to take this one out, but I'm just gonna do it to show you. This is real time, by the way, so you can see how long this takes. So I'm removing all of these retaining nuts here. So if you want to, you can put them all back kind of how they were positioned, so you don't lose track of where you went. You can kind of see where it's not rusty. But it comes off like this. Makes it easier to sharpen. You need to put grease in here. See, there's some old grease here. So we gotta grease this up. So, and then this part comes off too. There's a number here. If you're wondering, Felco 13, see? There's a number right there. It says Felco 13. So you can order these probably on Amazon or Felco website, or sometimes you can just buy it. I bought this at I think McLendon. So we will do this. Well, first I'm gonna take some napkins. I'll wipe this down. The blade. Wipe this down. You will also wear gloves for this because the grease and metal can kind of be hard to wash off. So we're going to take this and sharpen it. Just follow the same angle, or when you're sharpening, if you're seeing the entire thing is being shiny, by keeping this consistent, I think it's like 20 something degrees. So if you're keeping the angle consistent, you should see a very even sharpening, on all the surface that's flat. If you're sharpening, you're only seeing the shiny edge, the bottom. That means you gotta tilt your sharpener sideways a little bit, or more this way, flatter, so the whole surface becomes shiny. That way, you're getting a nice even sharpening. So you sharpen this all to one side, and then you take like 5 degrees, just a little edge, because otherwise it's going to catch on your other side over there. So this one's done, and then this one, since it's radius, you do not sharpen this side because you don't want to create a gap. You just want to go from the top and kind of set it flat and sharpen. There's nothing really much to sharpen there, but just in case you accidentally bit into the trellis wire, it just needs to be flat. No burrs. And you can very lightly, by placing this here, very lightly go over the surface just to make sure there's no bumps. Just make it flat. So that's pretty much it on this one. And then I'm going to take some oil, and I like to place a little bit of oil behind this so it doesn't kind of seize up in there. And then actually it's right here. So there's these holes and these pins for guides. So you pop those on, Okay, and then you take some grease. Any kind of grease would work actually on here. So there's nothing specific. Whatever you got. Brake grease, white lithium grease. You know, as long as there's a little divot in here, I'll put it in here because it kind of stays there. So do that. Also the spring you can take off, and I like to put a little oil on it. Go inside, go inside, it'll stay there. And then wipe the extra, all the excess, wipe it all off. Okay, that's done. And then you take this, put this on. It's not, oops. Sorry, this actually needs to go this way. Hold on. Nope. Confusing myself. I think it goes on this way. Nope. Just yes, it goes on like this. There you go. I knew it was that way. So basically this is how you put it on. Come on. There you go. So this, everything goes tight in here, slides in. The spring, it has a natural kind of curve forward, so you put it that way. So you put the spring on in there. You open this up, and then put this back screw in here. The one that you can actually put a little bit of oil or grease on it, that way it won't seize up. Or just oil is fine. Just don't cross thread it. Don't skip your threads. So that screw goes back on. Don't over tighten, just kind of snug but not tight. And then make sure this still is set, inside really well. Put this retainer down right here, and that screw will go over inside here. And then this nut, we'll screw it on, but we can actually put a little oil on it first, just to make it go a little smoother. So, and then we put the screw in. So this is like a little gear. So let's find this where it screws in. Put it inside. Okay, and then you need to open it up a little bit. We can lift it up. Tighten it by hand first. Tighten it by hand so it's snug. Nice and snug. And then we can set this down here. Like that. So when you tighten it, this is tight. See, it kind of sticks. That's too tight. See, if it's too tight, it ain't gonna open. So you want it right where it slides. So find that point where it almost sticks, but not really sticks. So then you just tighten this up. You tighten up the screw, and you can, while tightening the screw, you can hold this nut so it doesn't turn. Okay, perfect. So you can snug it more with this. That's it. So now you have a sharp and lubricated pruners. No squeaking. They'll last you many seasons, as long as you don't bite into rocks and trellis wire, because that's a hardened steel, carbon steel. So there you go. There's the pruners, and then these are exactly, same process, but they don't come apart. You can sharpen them. So you kind of open the blade up a little bit, sharpen it, same way. Sharpen it. You can see it. It's nice and flat. So that's flat, and then same thing, just like 5 degrees or so. You take off that little edge, just very lightly. Same thing here. You can, if there's any burrs or anything, just very flat. Hold it really flat and very gently remove any of that. And take this little blade. If there's any debris or sap or any of that stuff that gets kind of caked on here, just scrape it off. You don't have to be extremely, disinfecting any of this stuff. I mean, this stuff is dry. Unless you know that you have sick trees or diseased trees, then you can clean things up. But if it's your own, if you're only cutting your own garden, your plants and trees, when there's something diseased, then you can treat it with alcohol. But other than that, it's all good. You can also use a torch and heat up the tips just so they get hot, not red hot, just hot. Kind of kills off any living bacteria on it. So when you hear this, that's the sound of sharpness. Alrighty, take care.